Our friend Lawrence O'Donnell is in Los Angeles watching these results come in along with us. Lawrence, when you and I talked last night in our handover at 10 p.m. Eastern, when I was going from my show to your show, you said that you not only hadn't voted yet, but you still didn't know how you were going to vote. Did you figure it out? Did you vote? Was it hard to figure out what to do? How do you feel about it?
It was harder than it has ever been, and it took longer because the electorate here, especially on the Democratic side, was really shaken when Eric Swalwell dropped out of the race. Not because of support for Eric Swalwell, but because of the unpredictability of the race. Who's going to drop out next, and for what reason? Would some of the lower polling candidates drop out because they're in the single digits? And would there be some kind of coalescing in the polls that Democratic voters could look at and say, OK, here is strategically how we have to vote when what really matters is who comes in first and second. And there was a painfully long period in the polling where it looked at least theoretically possible that two Republicans could come in first and second tonight. That is now clearly impossible and has been impossible for the last couple of weeks. But it took quite a while for voters here on the Democratic side to settle down. And then they just had to stare at these candidates and make a slow and careful decision. That's why, I mean, I voted today on Election Day for the first time in literally as long as I can remember. It was like a reunion at the polling place, people who hadn't seen each other in a long time. And friends of mine texted me tonight saying, I'm in line tonight, because I didn't decide until today. And there's two tough decisions. Actually, Democrats had two tough decisions, including in the mayor's race, as you can see. Two Democrats running in the mayor's race. And I had someone standing in line tonight at 7:30 saying, she hadn't decided which one of those Democrats to vote for in the mayor's race. That's what was slowing her down in casting her ballot. And so it has also turned California voters into strategic voters. There was a progressive group that rates the candidates that was suggesting that the vote be for Tom Steyer so that he would come in second because they were confident Becerra would come in first. So they were advocating voting for Steyer, not because they were choosing him or endorsing him, but saying strategically, vote for him. Then you'll get two Democrats in November and nothing to worry about. So it's been just a mess of strategic confusion for California voters right up till the last minute here.
And with, as we get to 30, 40, 50% of the vote in, it looks like we're going to have definitely some drama tonight in terms of figuring out who the top two finishers are going to be in each of these races. But in the meantime, Lawrence, I understand you have a special guest.
Yes, we do. We're going to bring in California's Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, who is joining us tonight. Congressman Khanna, you made your decision on the governor's race a while ago. How did you decide?
I liked Tom Steyer because he was for the billionaire tax, because of his record on climate, because he's for single-payer health care. But let me just say, it looks like Xavier Becerra is likely to be one of the top two. I have a lot of respect for him. He served well in the Biden administration. He was an effective attorney general. And if he were to win, he'd be the first Latino governor. But I wouldn't count out Steyer. And the reason is that a lot of the late-breaking votes, anecdotally and through some of the exit polls, are breaking for Steyer. And it would be fantastic if we end up with two Democrats. If there's no Republican on the ticket, that would really help us win back the 5 House seats that we need in California.
But just to stay with the strategy of that for a second, if there's no Republican on the ticket, would that depress the Democratic vote statewide? Would that then reduce your chances of picking up those House seats that you want to pick up? Because Democratic voters don't feel some won't feel they need to go to the polls in November.
I don't think so, Lawrence. Look, the one thing Democrats in California is energized. They want to stand up to Donald Trump. They want to stand up to Donald Trump, who shafted us after the fires, didn't give us money, who did the awful ICE raids in Los Angeles, and they're going to come out. If the Republicans don't have a gubernatorial nominee, I actually think it would depress Republican turnout. But look, we are poised, in my view, to win at least 4 of those seats. The hardest seat is going to be the Valedeo seat. The last I checked, Randy Villegas is up there. We'll see how that plays out. He's a very strong candidate. But California is going to deliver. And I give the Governor Newsom, Speaker Pelosi, Zoe Lofgren a lot of credit for mobilizing us in Prop 50 and getting 5 seats, which we're hopefully going to deliver to get Hakeem Jeffries to be Speaker.
Carson Connor, we've been having a discussion of money in these campaigns. No one has seen the kind of money in California that Tom Steyer, your candidate, has spent. L.A. Times reporting this morning that his $200 million that he has spent to get this far is 20 times more than what the frontrunner, Javier Becerra, has spent to get to this point. What does that tell you about money in politics in California?
Well, it's a terrible thing. And look, neither side is pure. I mean, Javier Becerra is getting a ton of money from donors and corporate donors, but Tom Steyer is spending hundreds of millions of his own money. And this is why, in my view, we need to ban all super PAC money. We should ban individuals from spending more than the contribution limits. I mean, I don't take PAC money, I don't take super PAC money, and I don't use my own money in elections. And I really think the Americans people are tired of super PAC money or self-funded candidates, and it's a real flaw in our political system.
Carson Ro Khanna, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Lawrence.